Hello! How are we all doing? Oh, it's too hot, Mike. How could it be too hot this early in the year? And I did a microphone test before, had the fan on, thought, I'm not going to be able to hear anything. You couldn't hear the fan, so I'm sorely tempted to turn it back on. We'll see how it goes.
We're live.
Way! So hello to everyone in the chat. I do believe Carol was in first tonight, followed by Stephen and Pandemonium. Oh, and Graham. Have you had bad weather, Graham? We got a report of flooding down near you. Hello, Jonathan and Mrs. Yarnold. And Kim's with us. Excellent. And Paul. Good morning to you, Paul. And Peter. And who else have we got? Oh, Mike's in the chat as well. And I think we're all present and correct. Excellent. Oh, I'm liking that pink hand. Not seen that one before. Very cool.
Yes, there's one thing that's not present and correct, though, isn't there?
What's one thing that's not... Oh, yes. Mike's got a calamity before the week at MacBites headquarters. Go on, share.
We could save that till next week.
No, I've in case it takes that long to turn up?
Yeah, it could do. I bought something. I bought a shelving unit, and it was supposed to arrive 12th to the 15th or something. And
this was May, wasn't it?
May, yes. Anyway, what wasn't
2023?
Wasn't expecting it yesterday, and the message from Hermes, which is like, I was going to say one step up from Yodel, but that's debatable. I was going to say that they said they'd delivered it at 10 o'clock last night, and they hadn't.
And Mike knew this because
I checked the CCTV.
They were lying.
It was supposed to be here by 8 o'clock, so I'm keeping...
This is tonight?
Tonight, so I'm keeping my eye out on...
So CCTV's blaring, lights are on, stingers deployed.
Yes.
And let's see how it goes. Yeah.
So if I disappear, you'll know why.
Yeah, if there's noise and you disappear, that's why. Right, okay, let's have a look what we have got tonight. Hopefully the slide will match up with what I'm doing. The reason it might not is I had to change it. But I think I've got it right now. Right, so we've got the week at MacBites headquarters. I've missed something off, but never mind, it's only a tiny thing. Then we've got the Evernote pricing update. This was me playing Russian roulette with Evernote as to how much my upgrade would be. Because they were sending out reminders, if you remember, that had upped it by 3 times. And I didn't get a reminder, so it was anybody's guess. Anyway, I can now tell you what it was. There has been an update to Raycast, which adds AI. So, Carol, you got all of about a day and a half on the beta, I believe, before they brought the pricing in. That's not on. I went to update one of my apps this week to find out there's a completely new version. So I'm going to demonstrate that because it's very cool. Then I can actually show you Adobe Firefly. If you've been living under a rock, this is Adobe's AI and it's in beta, but it has a wait list as long as that one you were on, Mike. Do you remember, for the Notion AI?
Oh yeah,
weren't you 2 million and something
like that.
Anyway, got an invite. Then we got our freebies. Mike is continuing, well he might be, depends on the shelf. He's continuing with his Premier League dashboard, and then we've got Canvas MOCs in Obsidian. We are broadcasting in 1080p. Make sure you are receiving in 1080p. There is a cog in the lower right hand corner. Make sure you've got the one with the red flash on it from in there. There's also a like button down there. Really important this week that you give it a like, on account of the fact YouTube have gone mental. It's a long story. I'll share it with you once I've organised what on earth is going on. But likes would help a lot. So let's travel back in time to last Saturday. Majorly important day, according to the papers. Can I just call him Charlie and be done?
Yeah.
Charlie. It was Charlie's day, and happy to report, coronation successfully avoided. And when I say avoided, I do mean all of it. All of every last second and every last second of any replays. I've seen a couple of photos, but I was in my happy place. Can I just say, for me, it was a total yawn fest. 100 million. Could have been spent better elsewhere. In fact, it could have been spent better anywhere else, but that's just me.
You know that call I was on last night with that girl from the States? She asked me if I was watching the coronation this weekend. I said it was last weekend, and no, I didn't.
There was actually a story this week. This was bad. It was an Australian girl. She lives here, but she's a big royalist. So she turns up to watch the coronation about 6 o'clock in the morning. And because she was sat next to these protesters, she got arrested, and she was in jail. Well, not jail, but in custody at a police station, probably one of the terrorist-related ones in London, for 13 hours. So she missed it as well. But unfortunately, she wanted to see it, and I didn't want to see it. So what did we do instead? Glad you asked. We had other stuff to concentrate on. It was the great blog rebuild of 2023. Oh my. It was more a case of this. It was like, don't touch anything, it'll fall over. We've dealt with the back end, dealing with the front end this week. So not much to see at the minute, but in the future, hopefully. Then it was Tesco delivery time. They didn't let us down last week, did they? In more ways than one. I don't recall anything catastrophically missing, and it was Wendy. There's a blast from the past. The lovely, lovely Wendy. She asked after Lola and managed to get all the food here. So a rare achievement. Well done. Long may Wendy last. She probably doesn't work every weekend, does she?
No.
Yeah, we need to work out when she's working. So, on to Sunday. Yes, more tinkering with the blog. No, actually, Sunday. Do you remember Sunday? We were rolling out the big toys. Mike's sequel Master Blaster thing. Where you fiddle with the back end.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, how would we do this? How would we do that? And then Mike said, it's all right, I've exported the whole thing. Now I'd have to import it and overwrite it. And I said, hang on. Just a minute, we'll do it by hand. We all survived, but trust us when I say bad words were said. Now, Sunday also marked the end of the latest ship 30 for 30. Yes, I managed 30 for 30. Just about. So we had our celebration call. Then after that, so by this stage, it was about 5:30. Coronation concert successfully avoided. That took careful navigation, but I'm happy to report complete success. What I couldn't fathom with that concert was the people that they'd got in the concert were from years ago. Their best years were maybe the 90s. And it reminded me of do you remember the Diamond Jubilee concert in 2012, which coincided with the Olympics?
Yeah.
And Paul McCartney came on and absolutely tortured Hey Jude. Oh, it was bad. So no, I didn't watch that either. Mike, on the other hand, a late kick-off. So somebody at the Premier League decided it would be a good idea for the United match to clash with the concert, which meant that Mike had double dues to get out of it. And match was televised. So, result. Sadly, don't mention the match. Didn't end well again. It was only 1-0, but United had, looking at the stats, they should have won that one.
They should.
Yes. Sadly, I saw that match, and the stats are not the story, are they? We were lucky it was only 1. Let's leave it like that. So, Monday. I'm enjoying this, I could do it with a bank holiday every day, in every Monday in May. This was another one. It was for Charlie, apparently. And but we weren't supposed to idle it away. I didn't realise this until the actual day. It was billed as the big help out, and we were all supposed to get our hands dirty with volunteer work, which may have been all right in London, although Charlie and Mrs. Charlie didn't partake. I noticed that. I clocked that. But of course, this is Manchester, and it was a bank holiday. That means, don't we? It absolutely lashed it down. Lola was disgusted. So, no, we stayed inside where it was dry. I did get a notification from Twitter, though. I had no ideas. No idea about that. I remember it was May. And wasn't it the year? It was the year we got our iPhone, wasn't it? Because I don't think without our iPhone, I don't think that the Twitter thing would have caught on.
No. But
15 years later, I'm still there, only just, obviously. But yes, it was Monday, apparently. So yours must have been Monday. But you probably log in once every Preston Guild, don't you?
I logged in on Monday.
And did you get a little Billy Doo telling you that it was 15 years?
Not as I noticed.
Obviously not using the right app. Anyway. As you know, bank holiday, we made the most of it. We had a Marooned at MacBites headquarters coronation special. Oh, it was great fun. We enjoyed that. We were plotting and planning what event we could hijack next for a special. If you were with us, the following will make sense. If you weren't, it won't, but don't worry about it. Yes, it was the Marooned at MacBites headquarters coronation special, brought to you by Gilbert, Trevor, and Betty and Olive. We had great fun, didn't we? They are delegate types. We'll explain that one day. Anyway, that meant Tuesday was another start of the week that felt like Monday, that confused me. So I thought I'd need to ease myself gently into the week. So it was a box set. This one was Blue Lights. I watched the first episode a while back, and I wasn't to the point of like desperate to watch the rest. But there was nothing else on. So I thought, right, I'll finish that box set, I thought. Wow. Yeah, I shouldn't have been so judgmental after the first episode. If you get a chance to watch it, it's a box set from the BBC. No spoilers, you won't be disappointed. And they've actually commissioned season 2. Mike, however, now you're wondering, aren't you? Champions League, United aren't in the Champions League. I know that, and you know that. Mike was being unfaithful. Otherwise occupied he was. Real Madrid and Manchester City. Yeah, you're wondering. City had progressed further in Europe than us. That's not difficult. But was Mike supporting our local rivals? No. He wanted Real Madrid to win, didn't you?
Of course.
Yes. Mike was hoping for what we in Manchester call a right stuffing. He was disappointed with a 1-1 draw, but could have been worse. There's another leg of that to go, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah. So are you hopeful for that?
We'll see.
That means no. No, because this time City are at home, so they could well win it. Tuesday was also when Apple made special announcements. Final Cut Pro for iPad finally announced. Before you get excited, it's subscription. $4.99 a month, but still subscription. Their other Pro app is Logic Pro, and that was also announced. Yes, that's subscription as well, $4.99 a month. The way I read the press release, I thought it's $4.99 for the pair, but clearly not. I don't suppose I can complain. But I did buy Final Cut Pro way back when. It was about £1,000. And then when it went into the App Store, you had to buy again. I think I paid about $50. So I suppose I've done quite nicely. But now if you want it on the iPad, that's going to cost you. Only a matter of time before they have everything on subscription, even your Mac. But Wednesday, I'd totally forgotten on Wednesday that there was a big event on. Luckily, I remembered in time. It was Google I/O. That was 6 o'clock our time. I was interested with the bike. There is that app, if you remember, Bike for Mac. And I thought, why is there a bike on there? And it was all through the thing. I thought, are they bringing out an AI-powered bike? Apparently not. What they did announce was very, very interesting. It was Project Tailwind. Let me know in the chat if you saw this. It is an AI-powered notebook that only accesses your information to provide you with the answers. So it's basically an AI-powered notebook on your content in Google Drive. Looks very nice, I'll give it that. Your content is that bit, the white bit in the middle. And then the rest of what's round that is you asking questions. So it looks to be aimed squarely at students, but students of anything. So you wouldn't have to be 15 and doing your maths. This one was based on computer history, and they were asking it questions. And the answers, as I'm saying, you get to choose where the content comes from that the answers provide. And they also generated a glossary somewhere. You'll notice it says join the waitlist. You can sign up for this right now. Just a minute before you get excited. Right now at g.co/labs. As long as you're in the States. Yes. The world ends as the Pacific Ocean starts. I'm grumpy. I'm grumpy. I can understand, maybe it's in English only. Maybe you've got legalities in certain countries, but seriously, come on. This is 20 odd years after the internet and still we're doing geographic shenanigans. Can't be doing with it. Can't be doing with it. So I got very grumpy because then I wanted to try it. I know I could create another Google account and all of that, but they'll only shut down the real one. So I left it be. Instead, I headed off to my Fly meeting. It's a business group that I'm in. So I went there and vented my spleen instead. Google will never work if they don't get out of the States, I stated. So that took us on to Thursday. Thursday was fairly quiet, to be honest. Well, it was. I was sat there in this session. It was a coaching call. I don't think Carol partook, did you? You didn't miss anything. Let's just say that. But while I was sat there getting grumpier by the second, an email came in, which perked me up no end. Adobe Firefly is Adobe's answer to Midjourney, which is an AI-powered thing that creates images. So you describe your image and it makes it for you, which we've seen with Canva. That was what we looked at about 6 weeks ago with Canva. But Firefly has been really well received. So I was excited. So while I'm in the business mastermind meeting, there I am. I'll just log in and make sure I accept this invitation. Now, what could I ask it to draw? Oh, just too cute. I mean, Samoids are cute to start with, but that's particularly cute. Then I got ambitious because, asking it to make a cute Samoid, like I say, cute to start with. I thought, what if the Samoid was an astronaut? On a planet planting a flag, I thought.
That looks a bit like Untethered in Timperley.
It does. But look at that. In a little astronaut suit. Saves putting Lola in one because she'd complain vehemently, wouldn't she?
She would.
She would. Oh, just too cute. And it really didn't do a bad job. The ones that looked very weird were where it wasn't a dog. It was like a human stood up and then with a dog's head on it. That looked scary. But more on that later. But, it's got to be done. The cute Samoids have got to be done. Which took me to Friday. I awoke. I shouldn't look at the news when I wake up, should I? But we were being warned to be wary. I mean, what you can do about this, I really don't know. If it was like rain, then make sure the drains aren't blocked or you'll get flooded. But I don't know what I was supposed to do about this. Funnel clouds. Watch out for them, they said. And I thought, well, fine, I can watch out for them. There is one. It's coming my way. What am I supposed to do? I've got no idea. We don't have weather like this in the UK, but we have today. Luckily, not quite as close to us. There was a cyclone once, wasn't there, in Altrincham?
Yeah.
So it was literally a mile up the road and it just went up one road. It destroyed roofs, cars, the lot, just on one road. Anyway, I haven't seen any today. Doesn't mean they won't come here tomorrow. Then I went into my Captain's Table mastermind. I hunkered down and I was in the company of Carol as well. As usual, minds were blown. Although I don't think you got an answer to your question, did you, about whether we should be submitting these somewhere? Because I didn't know that either. And I went through the chat to see if there was an answer and I didn't see one. If you got one, Carol, let me know because I've no idea what I'm supposed to be doing with them. Anyway, let's get on with tonight's. So, the Evernote pricing update. This was the farce that started when Bending Spoons, I know, Bending Spoons, bought Evernote. So they left things alone for all of like 2 minutes and then decided they were changing the prices. Obviously upwards, not downwards. So they have 2 subscription models. They have personal and they have professional. Previously, they had premium. I do wish they wouldn't start them all with a P because it's very confusing. And I was on premium. And when they switched to personal and professional, they gave me the very kind option of upgrading, if that was what I'd like. No, I wouldn't. So I stayed where I was. So the prices now that they're quoting, for comparison, I think when Evernote started, it was about £25 to £28 a month. So now, in the US, the personal subscription is $130. In the UK, that's $80. That's a bit of a wild difference, isn't it? I'm wondering if they're not quoting that with VAT. But anyway, it's supposed to be £80 in the UK and $130 in the States. The professional one didn't actually look that much different if you look at the monthly. You know, it's like, oh, it's only £3. But then you think that per month, £17.99 a month or £13.50 in the UK is actually quite a lot. And then when you multiply that to the yearly sub, $170, that's a heck of a price hike. Or $105 and possibly plus VAT in the UK. So these were the two that were in mind as far as I was concerned. If it's personal, it's 130. If it's yearly, if it's professional, it's going to be 170. I had not had any communication from Evernote. I had previously been paying $45. So I wondered what on earth I would be charged. So this is it. $45, which was exactly the same as I paid last year. So I thought, for $45, I'm happy. You know, it's under £3 a month. All I do with Evernote, obviously it's got all my old notes in it because I've not bothered taking them out and fiddling. But all I now do with it, if there's something that I read and I think, you know, I'm interested in that, maybe that'll be useful in the future, I just dump it in Evernote. Its capture is brilliant and I can email stuff to it. Other than that, I don't actually sit and use Evernote. I will query Evernote, but $45 fine, $170 not fine. Here's the interesting bit though, because I then read somewhere, which made no sense, that the prices were going up from the end of May. It made no sense because people were being warned about this back in March. But if it was the end of May, what would next year bring? As I carried on, it assures me my next payment is going to be $45 next year. We'll wait and see if it is or not. I'm not confident that it will be. Anyway, they also announced that they were bringing what they're calling RTE, real-time editing of notes. I don't share notes. I might share a note publicly. I mean, it's highly unusual, but if I did, it wouldn't be to collaborate. It would be to say, this was the note that I have and there's the link. But if you are sharing with people and you're sharing to collaborate, they are rolling out this real-time sync on notes, which is coming to everybody. And I thought, does that include me in the cheap seats? I don't know. I'll let you know. But if it does, I don't know whether both parties would need a paid-for account, because yours isn't paid for anymore, is it?
No.
So I don't know what'll happen there. We'll experiment and find out. Right, so what happened next? Oh, it was Raycast next. So we've discussed Raycast in terms of being a launcher, and it is, of course, a launcher, but it's also much more than a launcher. We've discussed it adding in AI. This was about 6 to 7 weeks ago. There was a wait list. You needed an account for it because you don't actually need an account for the app. You need an account to test the AI. So I've been testing the AI for weeks. Carol got the AI last week. And then within like 48 hours, they announced they were rolling out Raycast Pro. Obviously, with Raycast Pro came a cost. It's $8 a month and it's billed annually. If what they were giving you, $8 for AI isn't bad because ChatGPT is $20. Having said that, with ChatGPT, any prompts that you acquire will work. With any other app, you don't know about their strict implementation of it. But what Raycast did was they created a product called Raycast Pro and added more features to it. The flagship feature for this is the AI. So as we demonstrated very late on last week, Carol wanted a reminder. You can either ask it a very simple question within the standard Raycast interface, or you can have a longer conversation with it and open that out in a separate window. So it may be for some people viable instead of ChatGPT. It would just depend. But as I say, ChatGPT is $20 a month. Notions AI is $10 a month, or $8 if you already have an account. So although it's only $8, you'll actually be doubling your cost. Now the other features, I've waited for this one for a long time. Cloud Sync, and what the Cloud Sync is talking about is the extensions you've got in there, the shortcuts you've got. your entire configuration. You can at the moment export that. What you can't do is automatically have it sync with other devices. So I left Alfred on all the other devices and just used Raycast on this one. So Cloud Sync would be fabulous. The only thing that doesn't Cloud Sync is the clipboard, and that's for security. Right, next option you've got is custom themes. Again, I never really fiddled around with Alfred. I did go from light to dark, and that was as far as I went. So I don't think I would use the custom themes, but you can make your own themes and you can share them with the community as well. One that might be useful if you are using this is unlimited clipboard history. So when you copy something, as long as you've got this enabled in Raycast, it is automatically making copies and keeping it in its buffer. Unlimited clipboard history is only available in the Pro account, but you can get 3 months in the free account. If you are concerned that Raycast was free and now there's this Pro thing, everything that you've currently got is still free. These are extra features that they have brought out that if you subscribe to a Pro account, you will get. I read a few reviews, and many of the reviewers were saying they understand the need to generate cash. They see that it would be useful for people who have no other way to get into AI, or they don't want to pay $20. And while the Cloud Sync would be amazing, they've really got no need to pay for it. So many people have decided that they're not paying for it. Let me know in the chat what you would be doing with it. Right, I see Carol saying no answer. Right, well, we need to work that one out, don't we? Because there's no point sitting here on them if we're supposed to be putting them somewhere. They go at quite a lick, and I wondered if I'd missed it, but clearly not. Right, so let's have a look at what it looks like in Raycast right now. So no change at all to the interface. If we go into the preferences, you'll see you will have now Pro badges all over the place. So in the general, if you do want, what happened to me was I had this set to dark like I have it now. And when it updated itself and I brought Raycast to the front, it was light, and I stopped and I thought, what's gone on there? That doesn't look right. And then I thought, yeah, I have that dark. Why is that not dark? So I went in and then I saw all these Pro badges and I thought, what they've obviously done is change that back to light as the default. And I thought, oh, don't tell me that dark, have to pay for. But no, you don't. You can set the appearance to light, dark or system. But if you want to make a custom theme, then there is a Pro badge on that. So that's what you need to do there. The extensions haven't changed. So these are all my extensions and all my configurations. So why I think the Cloud Sync would be amazing is in here, I have turned off quite a bit. Let's have a look. These are quick links. I think it was the Windows stuff. Yeah, I turned off quite a lot in the system preferences. So battery health on an iMac, why is that there? So I just took the tick out. So taking the tick out of all of these is great. It means that if I type something in and it's similar to that, it's not going to come up. But to be able to keep them in sync would be even better. I would love that. I would love that. Here's the window management. I turned most of it off. When I did the demonstration, you can see here, all of these are turned off. When I did the demonstration, I decided I would change from Moom into Raycast. And the reason that I didn't was the window management is not equal. So what I mean by that is if I've got a window and I want it centered, it puts it bang in the center, like this window is. But if I do that, which is Moom, it puts it in the center, but it lifts it up a bit. And that's just something that's in Moom. The other problem that I had with it was, so one, it wasn't placing it properly. The other thing I had was, let's see what I've got in here. Right. I have this window, and this is Drafts, the Drafts app. And this is the quick entry window. And I'm used to having that. I'm used to bringing it up with a shortcut key. So I have a shortcut key of Option, Shift and 2 that brings that up. So I am then able to type a quick note in there. But that window, as you can see, hovers over the other windows. So even if I make this Raycast window, the active window, this one stays on top. It's supposed to. It's for quick notes. But that means I may need to get it out of the way quickly. So I would want to move it onto my left-hand screen or bring it back and put it on my right-hand screen. And I couldn't do that with the Raycast options. Only Moom could do that. So however Raycast's doing it, it's not doing it in the same way Moom did. So that died a death. And I went back to using Moom for the majority of that. So just a quick aside as to why I did that. Right, the AI that we've got in here is now under the Pro. So you've got the option to get instant responses with tab to Ask AI, but you've also got what you can set what the primary action is. So do you want to paste it into the active app? And then you can decide how long it is before you get a new chat, etc. So you can do that, and you can configure all of the AI commands as well. But it's a Pro feature. The account has always been there. I created the account to test the AI. Prior to that, I didn't have an account. This is giving you a list of features that you would get in there. So is anybody saying they'd do it, Mike? Yet?
No.
Right, well, under the
No, but we do have a friend in.
Do we?
Yes, Tony Blythe.
Good grief. Hello, Tony. Right, you can set up organisations. Now, I think this was their original plan to monetize. If you imagine that in an organisation you have dedicated apps, dedicated services, what they enabled you to do was to set up an organisation and then add in custom commands that were custom to your organisation. So I definitely think that was what they were intending to monetize.
Oh, Carol says she signed up.
Hey, Carol probably wants the AI, don't you, Carol? So that's what the organisations is. I've not bothered setting that up, but that would enable, if I set up an organisation, we usually have Giles Thomas everywhere we are, don't we? Like 1Password and stuff. We could set up an organisation. I could make custom commands and then share them with Mike. That was the idea with that. The cloud sync, to even enable that, you need to be on Pro. But as I say, this is what gets synced. It also tells you here what doesn't get synced, which I think is just as important. The clipboard history, the credentials and passwords, and general advanced preferences. But all your aliases, your hotkeys, quick links, snippets, all of that gets synchronized. And then the advanced is just the standard thing, and the about is just the standard thing. So those are the changes. If you don't have any other way to get to AI, that's a very cost-effective way to do it. And I think the other features they've got are niceties. It would have been nice if it was a little bit on the cheaper side. But did you know the other day when I said, oh, look, it's got cloud sync, Mike said, well, just order it. You're so sweet, aren't you? Oh, because usually how it goes is like, well, from what I've heard from my friends who are girls, if they want a new pair of shoes or a handbag, they have to hide it and say, oh, this old thing had it years. And you're just like, oh, order it. Yeah, you might as well subscribe.
You try hiding AI in the back of the wardrobe.
Yeah, that's a bit tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last time I bought shoes was, I think it was after 2000 because we had the dog, but possibly around 2002, 2003. And I like them so much, I bought 12 pairs, still using them. Don't like shoe shopping, do I?
No.
If I don't like shopping, shoe shopping's even worse. Right, so, guest timer. Is your shelf on the way yet?
No,
the camera's gone into night mode now, hasn't it?
Yeah, the carrier says tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
The seller says
sometime never.
Today. I say sometime never.
They're not going to bring it on a Saturday if they can't get it here on a Thursday or a Friday. They're just lying toads.
What are they going to do? Just leave it in the van over the weekend?
I've no idea what they're going to do. Can we just point out here that although they've rebranded, it's actually Hermes, isn't it?
That's what I said earlier.
Yeah. So really, it's like Yodel with knobs on.
Yeah.
You've no chance, Mike. No. Why didn't you just order it from somewhere else that used a different courier?
They don't tell you the courier, do they?
I've not fallen.
Sneaky like that.
Well, mind you, there's me and my books, isn't there? Never mind. Right, so guest timer. I deliberately haven't turned my notifications off. I have nuked some stuff, though. Guest timer's something that I've mentioned before, and I'm a bit of a timer junkie. I must have about 5 or 6 different timers, but they're all slightly different. So this is guest timer that lives in the menu bar. So as you can see here, I'm going through the pricing before we start. because I don't want you to dive in. Oh, look at the balance on that. I've got enough money in there, haven't I? Right, I don't want you to dive in and buy it because you may be able to buy it cheaper. So first of all, it's a completely new version. It's not subscription of any description at all, thankfully. And it's $6.99. But there is a way that they can give you an upgrade discount, and this company have taken advantage of that. So if you'll notice there, it says also included in the Guest Time 2 upgrade discount bundle, catchily named. When you go into that, it shows you that the upgrade price is £4.70. So what they've actually done in there, if you didn't already have the legacy version, which was previously version 1, there would be a price next to that, which looks like it would be $6.99. So the complete bundle of both of them would be $13.98. But if you click on that, it shows you the price at $6.99, but it also says complete my bundle of £4.70. Now, do not, on pain of death, click the $6.99 button or you'll be charged $6.99. I don't know why they do that either, but that's what happens. You actually have to click the price, the $4.70 at the top, which is the complete my bundle option. If you click anywhere else, you're charged the full amount. Why they just don't have like a banner for the price, but you can't click it, I really don't know. But good that they've given you a discount. Many companies just don't bother, and that's the way to do it. So I thought I'd show you the pickies from in here. So how it works, it sits in your menu bar and you simply click it and pull down. And you can pull down straight or at an angle. And as you pull down, you're setting a timer further and further in the future. Once you let go, it gives you that dialog box, if you will, float over, and you can actually put in some text of what that is if you want to. You don't have to. You can just leave it like that and hit the save button. Obviously, when it reaches its time, you will get a reminder. And this is very new. This wasn't in the other one. It is actually purple. It sits there in the menu bar, so you can see the countdown if you want to. And that is what it looks like when you've got more than one in there. Right, it seems like a tiny little utility that you wouldn't particularly use for anything else. Or maybe not even use that much, but it does sync with Apple reminders. So if you have it synchronizing with reminders, you can get reminders on your watch as well. So maybe quite useful in ways that I don't use it if you use Apple reminders. Who uses Apple reminders? I think actually they're better than I would have given them credit for the last time I looked at them, which was probably when they were introduced, I would imagine. But let's go and have a look at it. So it is sat here, looks a bit like a keyhole now. And how this works, as you hover, you get this purple dot. I then pull that down. As you can see, you can pull it straight down, and we're now up to like 17, 18 hours. You can pull it across, and we can go up to 3-4 days. So it depends on the size of your screen, I guess. And this is actually smaller than my screen usually is. Can I pull it onto the other one? It gets upset if I do that, so I won't do that. So what I'll do with that is set that for a couple of minutes. So it wants that. I'll just put test reminder and save. So what you can see happening there now is that we've actually got that countdown. The purple thing moves from the right hand side to the left. And hopefully we'll then get a reminder, because I have not nuked my reminders. So fingers crossed that we will get a reminder. So what's going on in the chat? Has anybody got this? Have you used it before? Is it something that you might have a use for?
WS uses Apple reminders and Patience uses Apple reminders.
Oh, then it might work well for you. It's a way of setting a reminder while you're sat there on the Mac with a very nice interface, but it will synchronise with all your other devices.
And Patricia says, I wanted to get a timer app. Are there others that anyone would recommend? I use Calendar, Structured app, and now want a timer that integrates Mac and iPad.
There's one called Due, D-U-E, that I use. I think all the other ones, I'm not sure if they're on both platforms or devices. I think I've got about 5 or 6 that I use regularly. One of the ones on the iPad is called Timers. It was funny because I was using that the other day and I went into it and it starts going on about pro features. So I read all about the Pro features and I thought, go on then. It was something silly like $199. And when I tapped it, it said restored. I thought, I've already bought it, have I? I'd forgotten. There we go. There is our time-sensitive reminder at the 2-minute mark. I have that set up. You don't set this up in Gestimer, I don't think. I have that set up to sit there until I deal with it. I don't like those ones that fly in and then disappear. But if I go into here, there we go, and I go into the cog, then I can go into the settings. And in there, we have the open at login, which I've got set to yes. You don't have to have that countdown showing if you don't want. So you could turn that off. Then you've got the drag sensitivity. So if you only use it for reminders that are like 10 minutes long, 15 at tops, you could have this less sensitive, which means you have to drag further away so you can be more precise. Then you've got whether it automatically removes past reminders, which I've got set to yes at 4 o'clock in the morning. Then you've got the notifications. Now, the notifications caused a bit of a problem when I set this up. There was a dialogue and it just said allow notifications. So I put a tick in it and it disappeared. Turned out it had crashed, so I had to run it again to go in to put the allow notifications, but that then worked. You can ask it for a preview of a notification and it will show you what that will look like. You can choose the alert style, but as I say, you don't particularly do that in here. So you need to go to your notification settings for that, which will take you into here. And then you need to find the app. So somewhere down, are they in alphabetical order? I think they are. There we go. So this one was the old one, which it's now got confused with, but this is the newer one. So I've allowed the notifications and you choose in here whether you want the banners that appear and then disappear, or whether you want an alert which stays on your screen until you deal with it. So that's what I've done. You can actually get quite granular in here. Do you remember Growl?
I do.
Oh, Growl was fun.
Growl on the prowl.
Yeah. It used to sit between you and your notifications and you could control them globally. It was genius. Apple should have something similar. I guess they're saying that their Do Not Disturb is somewhat similar, but the problem with Do Not Disturb is it synchronises on all my devices. I actually want notifying on my iPad, just not my desktop. So I'm fighting it the whole of the time. But in essence, you've got your notification settings within the app itself, but you need to click on notifications to go through to your system where you actually configure them. The sounds are on. You can set the sound settings in there. You can also synchronise these. Now, this is where it links in with the Reminders app. So if we enable sync, the next option is give it permission to see the reminders. So we'll do that. And these are the lists that I've got. So obviously I've done this before and I would tell it to synchronise to that list. And then I'll be getting notifications on other devices that as long as I've enabled the reminders on other devices. So for instance, this is not available for your phone, your iPad or your watch, but by synchronizing with the Reminders app, you will get your notifications on the other devices. Then we've got other options in here, which is really just miscellaneous. So and logging was enabled by default and I've not gone through anything else yet because I've not broken it yet, but it's only a matter of time, isn't it? So I'm going to go into the sync and just not enable the sync because I'll probably start getting notifications and wondering why. So it's a really simple app, but it's incredibly useful just to have it sat there when you want a quick 10-minute reminder of something. And I use that all day, every day. So I had it set today for 2 minutes to 4 because I was in a session and I had another session at 4. So I was hoping my 3 o'clock would finish before the 4 o'clock started. But the 4 o'clock was captain's table and they always start 2 minutes late. So it was fine. But I did set myself a reminder because I was prepared to bail out of session 1 to join session 2. It's that kind of thing where I don't want to set a calendar reminder and all of that. I also find with calendar reminders that you constantly have to tell it it's time sensitive. Which was something I discovered when I had a problem. So when we went into the notifications there, time sensitive was an option. If I want a notification of something, does it not make sense that it's time sensitive? Where is it now? don't even see it in there. But I saw this time sensitive. And I thought, if I got a reminder in 5 minutes, I want it in 5 minutes, not 25 minutes. But I don't know with Apple. If something is that important, I'll probably put it on a little analog timer I've got next to me. Because I don't trust Apple. But there we go. So who uses what there? We got any questions?
No. Paul says Gestimer needs macOS 12, not for his 2013 iMac.
Oh dear. I was looking at something the other day that I'll be able to share with you next week, and it needs Ventura. And I'm looking at my Mac and thinking, not happening. And then, of course, there was my laptop that did itself. I only told it to download Ventura and it went and installed it. So I'll if I'm looking at it, I'll look at it on that. But good catch on that. Right, okay. So, Adobe Firefly. Who's heard of it? Who's signed up for the beta and who's got access to it? I think I signed up the day it was announced. I don't know how they're doling out the invitations. What I mean by that is you can sign up for it. I don't know if they're making a distinction between people who are paying for Creative Cloud and people who are not. I honestly don't know with that one. But Firefly is Adobe's AI. They've been working on it for a while. Obviously, they wanted to bring it to market complete. But with everybody else rolling out AI, they didn't want to be left behind. So it's very much in beta. What I mean by that is there is already a public list of improvements that they are putting in active development. But, I mean, there's this list is long and it's exciting. If they manage 10% of what they're aiming for, it'd be stunning. But currently there are 3 specific tools available for use, the results of which are not to be used commercially. So as I showed you these pickies before, you can see in the lower left-hand corner, it says image not for commercial use. They will be available for commercial use when it is out of beta. They have already said that. The reason at the moment is the source images for this have been what they say ethically sourced. So they've not just scraped the net and whipped everything. Many of these images are from their paid service, Adobe Images, Adobe Stock. So this is where they're coming from, and then they're running the AI on top of that. So what happens is it doesn't have that on it whilst you're creating the images. If and when you come to download the images, there is a little dialog box. It literally disappears from your screen in like 10 seconds, less than that. But it's telling you it's watermarking it. And that's what it's doing. It's putting that watermark in the lower left-hand corner. If you saw the Canva demo that I did, you will instantly be familiar with what this is doing. You ask it, you give it an instruction. So in this case, I said a smiling Samoyed. No, a cute smiling Samoyed, but obviously Samoyeds are all cute and smiley. So I think if you asked it to do like a poodle, it might have to work harder than with a Samoyed because they do smile like that. But what it does is it generates 4 alternatives. So I thought that was the cutest by far, but there was a whole range of them and they are equally adorable. They really are. That one I think would have been fairly straightforward for it because I wasn't asking for something that it would have to have generated specifically. You know, it could have started with a photo of a dog or a Samoyed and tweaked it slightly. Obviously, something like this, it's going to have to work harder on because as far as I know we have had dogs in space. Wasn't the Muppets pigs in space? Pigs in space. But we haven't actually got any real photographs. So it has had to generate that. There was a couple of things it struggled with that really made me smile. For instance, I asked it for a Union Jack and that was what I got. Yeah, that's not a Union Jack. So I thought maybe it doesn't understand what a Union Jack is. So I then asked it for the flag of St George, which is the English flag. Didn't like that either. Every time I asked for a flag, I got the US flag. I thought, in with Google. Life ends at the edge of the US. The other thing was that flag, there is a flagpole, but there is a white background where the flag is hanging off the flagpole, which I think should have the sky on it. And the other thing is that the flagpole that's coming out of the dog's neck isn't lining up with the flagpole of the flag. They are all things that I could fix if I needed to. But obviously you're concentrating on the dog, and that's just totally adorable. I've no idea how they work out what the space should look like. Just too cute. So let's go have a look at the 3 things that you can do with it right now. Right, so I'll have to switch from there to somewhere else. Right, Adobe Firefly. And we'll bring that on here. Hopefully it'll let me get in. Don't kick me out now. Right, where are we? No, let me in. Let me in. I don't want to join the beta. I've already done the beta. You've already let me in. Oh, crying out loud. Come on. Don't give me grief. Don't give me grief. Don't tell me you're not in there either. Oh, I daren't click join the beta. Should we try in here? Are you in there? First off, I wanted the... I'm going to have to go and find this. Oh, I should have saved the link, shouldn't I? Naughty, naughty. I'll find it. Talk amongst yourselves. Right, where's my history? Why has everything disappeared? There's the history. Right.
We have another friend in now.
Do we?
We have Ken.
Hello, Ken. Long time no chat. Right, why have I got nothing for Thursday? Oh, I'm having one of those days. Oh no, it's loading in, we'll get there. Right, let's load that in and hope it's that. No, it's not that. Oh no. I'll go right back. You know what I'll do? I'll filter for it. I should have got the link out the email. That's what I should have done. Right, that says Adobe Firefly. Don't make life difficult, Adobe. Come on. Here we go, here we go. Right, let me get back to there and then I'll share it with you. Right, keep going back. There we go. No, now you've gone on the other screen. Right, nothing to see. Right, we're all right now. Okay, so this is it, firefly.adobe.com. I will make a note of that for next time. Right, the 3 things it can do are the 3 at the top. So it can generate text to an image, it can do text effects, and it can recolor vectors. But if you move down, it gives you inspiration and exploration. So all of these, if you've generated something, you get to decide whether it goes in the gallery or not. So other people can look at it and use it for inspiration. So it doesn't happen automatically, but you can if you want. So these are the things that they're working on. So generative fills, personalised results, creating text to vectors and all kinds of other stuff. And there are videos of these if you want to watch them. These are the things that they're working on, but are not there yet. So the things that are there at the moment are these 3 at the top. So we'll start with text to image. So it takes you through, and again, you've got inspiration to look at. I found this quite disorienting, to be honest, because I could scroll up and down and never seem to get to the end. I did like the zebra, though, I must admit, but these are the kind of things that warped minds have created. So what you need to do, if you want to do this, at the bottom, describe the image that you want to generate. English only. I'm pretty sure the last time we did this, we opened it to the floor, didn't we?
I think we could well have done.
Shall we try the cute Samoids while you think of something to ask me to ask it to generate? Mike's going to have to read it out to me because I can't see the chat at the moment. But I think I put in a white, cute, smiling Samoid. Now, technically, Samoid should be white anyway. I needed to put white in, though, because it came up with a whole range of biscuit-coloured Samoids, which you don't see very often. So that's what I asked it for. I would imagine this time I'm going to get slightly different. Wouldn't expect to get the same, but they're similar, aren't they? Oh, they're all just gorgeous. Right, what you've got initially, starting at the top of the options on the right-hand side, you've got the square one, which is 1-to-1, but you can go into here and get a 4:3 or even a widescreen. So if this was to put on a slide for something, you could choose a widescreen and it will regenerate those. They should be fairly similar with a slightly different background. So it's having a think about it. There we go. Oh no, you see they're even cuter. You can see the little curly tails. Right, so that's the aspect ratio at the top that you've got. Then you can choose the content type. By default, it always defaults to art, so it looks a bit vectorish, but certainly not, it doesn't look like a photograph. But what you can do is change that type, and it needs to go away and regenerate it. But it should, the images themselves should be fairly similar, just a different style of it. That one looks deformed in the lower left. I've no idea what they've done with that. That's appalling. But these look much more photographic. So this one could certainly be a photograph. That is, those three, the top two and the bottom right are very, very good. I've no idea what this is. It looks like something out of Star Wars, doesn't it? Big chubby cheeks on it. That's definitely not right. Shall we tell it that that's appalling? That one's not good. Right, but these are fine. So that one is photograph. You can set this to none, and again, it will go away and regenerate it. But the good news is, if you're working through the content types, yes, it has to regenerate it the first time. It does not need to regenerate it if you then go back to it. So if I want to compare that one with the photo one, it's instant. And I can now see where it's gone wrong with this photo one and with this. This is fur, but it's far too overemphasized in the photo one. So that looks as though it's solid, not that it's fur. So it's got the shadow wrong on that. That's what's wrong with it. Right, and the other one is graphic. So we'll do all four and then we can switch between them. So it takes about 8-10 seconds usually. There we go. So if that does look like Untethered in Timperley, doesn't it? I'd have gone with that for Untethered in Timperley. That's an episode of MacBites, where one of his greatest adventures it was. So which one of these you would use depends on the level of realism you want. I think you're probably going to choose photo or none if you want it to look like a photo. But if you want something cutesy, then art is probably a good one to go for, or graphic, but I think art's probably better. Right, while you're doing all of that, you've then got styles that you can choose from. So at the moment it's set to popular, but you've got themes and all sorts in here. So I could change this into this one, Synthwave, and I can apply multiple ones of these. So I can apply the palette knife and have it in neon while we're at it. Now nothing's changing, but what it is doing, it's adding it to the bottom. So we've got the art and we've got the three that we've added, and it waits until you've finished so you can regenerate. So then regenerate that with the palette knife, the Synthwave and the neon, and it's probably not even going to look like a dog, is it? Oh, it'll look terrible, but never mind. Oh, there you go, an 80s dog, 80s punk dog. Oh yes, all four of those look pretty amazing. But you know, depending on what you actually ask of it, you know, obviously it will get better or worse. Right, I'll take those three away and we'll move down to the tone. So in colour and tone, you could have it black and white, you could make it muted, you'd have it warmer, cooler, vibrant colours or pastel colours. So seeing as though we're going from 80s neon, we should go to pastel, shouldn't we? And again, it's added it at the bottom and I need to hit generate to actually generate that. So let's see what it comes up with this time. Something a little bit more muted, hopefully. Taking its sweet time. Oh, still just twice as cute though, aren't they? So definitely more muted. You can then change the lighting. So if you wanted it backlit or very dramatic lighting, or even studio lighting. So let's put studio lighting in there. And then in the composition, you can decide whether you have a blurry background, whether you want it close up, narrow depth of field, whatever you want there. So I think we'll say blurry background, which we pretty much already got, I think, and then generate that. And then I will go in and change the colour from pastel to a little bit more lively and see what we get. It's too much fun. I spent half of last night doing this. Oh, they are adorable. Absolutely adorable. So with the dog being white, pretty much it's the background that's got the colours on it. So that one was pastel. We'll go for vibrant and generate it. It's now 10 o'clock, Mike.
Oh, I've already had a message that says they attempted to deliver it at 9:15.
Lying toads. You've had that CCTV on them all day. I'd call them out on social. It's the only thing they take any notice of. There we go. So we've got nice blurry backgrounds. We've got studio lighting, which is why around the edges we've got a kind of cyan colour. But adorable. So, has anybody else put anything else in the chat they'd like to see generated?
Yes, Kim said, yellow lab sniffing a large turtle by a bean field.
Oh, good grief. Right, let's get that in there. A yellow lab. Do you think it'd understand lab, or would it need Labrador?
Try Labrador.
Labrador. Right, yellow Labrador doing what? Have I spelt that wrong?
Sniffing a large turtle.
It doesn't like Labrador. Why am I spelling that wrong?
Labrad. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I've put. Oh, never mind. Carry on. Yellow Labrador. Sniffing
a large turtle.
Sniffing a large turtle.
By a bean field.
By a bean field. Oh, good grief. Right, what I will do is I will take these away so we're left with just the art one to start with. And generate those. Wondering if it's expecting Labradoodle. It's thinking about it anyway. I wonder what it's going to come up with. Oh my, it's not done at all bad. Oh, look. Oh, now the one in the lower right's scary, isn't it? That's like the invasion of the turtles. Yeah, which one do you think, Kim? I think the one on the lower left and the one on the top right are both cute. Anyway, let's try some other things. So that's the art one. Let's go to the photo one.
The one at the top left's got sharp claws.
It's scary. Lola's got sharp claws. Mind you, I don't fancy taking her to a groomer's, do you? We'd probably get sued. Yeah, so this, I mean, that one in the lower right is still scary. Scary, scary. But this is more realistic. I think it would still need something. This one in the lower left is probably the most accurate. This one, I don't know where the turtle's other leg is, and it's kind of in mid-air, isn't it? This one, the shadow's wrong by the dog's head. If that dog was really positioned there, and the shadow's slightly off on that one, but this one, absolutely. So what on earth persuaded you for that one, Kim? Right, let's try none, and we'll try graphic, and then you see the difference between those. Have we got any other suggestions?
Yeah. Let me scroll back a bit. 3 men.
Oh, is it the Yorkshireman sketch? That's scary as well. That one in the lower right does not get any better, I'll tell you. Right, I'll start typing it in. So go on. 3 men. 3 men.
Sitting on a banana.
3 men sitting on a... Are you testing my spelling now? 3 men sitting on a banana.
Balancing a speaker.
Balancing a speaker.
On their nose.
I have no idea what this is going to come up with, but we'll do it. We'll do it anyway. Right, we will go for art. So this one will bring back...
Kim said it was a poem her mother wrote.
Oh, the Labradors are gorgeous. You see, Labrador was the dog I was going to have before I decided. Hang on, sat on a... Yeah, they are actually sat on a banana. No idea what this one's doing. And that one's only got 2. But they're that one sat on a banana with a speaker. That one's balancing it on his nose. I don't know about this one. And this one's just reclining, enjoying it. He's waiting for the delivery of his shelf. Right, let's try photo and see what it comes up with that's photorealistic. This is scary, isn't it? Oh my. Can you imagine what would be happening right about now if this was a delivery for me? There'd be more than bad words being said, wouldn't there?
There would.
Yeah, they're fairly realistic, I guess. I don't know why this one's got bananas on his head. That was a tough one. Tough call, maybe. And this one's missing a foot. Yeah. Oh, no, hang on. His foot's up there. He's sat on it. Oh, that's scary. He's got an extra leg. So I think the more precise you can be, and like this one, we've got the three men sitting on a banana with a speaker on their nose. I think if there was maybe just two things, it would probably cope better. But if you wanted a picture of three men sat on a banana, then that's what you want, isn't it? So let's try the other options, see how well they go. I have seen some amazing ones of these. Mine, yeah, I never get beyond Samoyeds and pandas. Quite similar to the first one, I would say. And finally, none. Can you imagine what they're thinking at Adobe as they're working through what people are asking for? Oh, it's that weird woman again. There you go. So do we have any more, Mike?
No, that was it.
Right, in that case, we'll go for the pandas. A family of pandas sat in a bamboo forest because, why not? Why not? Pandas are adorable. I could print these out, it'd save on wallpaper. Trust me. Too cute. Are you struggling with a family of pandas? Oh, I like that one in the letter. Why is that panda green? That's a bit weird. Why is the panda green? And why has that panda got a leg in a funny place? Let's try doing the art one because they're very cute when they're art ones. Maybe I could say a cartoon family of pandas. Make sure they're even cuter. But you get the idea. What would you use this for? Oh, yeah, that one's just too cute. Why has that one got an ear in the wrong place? They might need a little bit of help, but I think generally, you can tell they're pandas and they're in a bamboo forest, can't you? So not too bad. I don't know what I'd use this for. It would be interesting to give it a title of a MacBites, wouldn't it? And ask it for a poster.
Carol's come up with one.
Go on.
A Saluki, if you know how to spell that.
Is that right?
Saluki.
Yeah.
Running at breakneck speed.
Running at breakneck speed.
On the beach.
On the beach. Oh, hang on. On the beach. On the beach. There we go. Have we seen a Saluki?
I don't know.
We probably have at Crufts. Oh, look at that. Is that good, bad or indifferent? The neck on that one in the top left looks a bit strange. But the others, wow. Wow. They are definitely running at breakneck speed and they are definitely on the beach. So how's that for you, Carol? They're cute. They look a little bit like, what was Ben? A rough collie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben across the road. When the guy's mother had the house for years. I think she lived in it when we moved in. And she died and then her son moved in. And they had a dog. And they had to put a gate on. He was around when Maya was around, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, but he didn't get on with Maya. He was a very timid dog. Imagine they had terrible trouble every time there was fireworks. So how's that for Carol?
Yeah.
You liking that?
Bottom left is good, says Carol.
Right, the bottom left. Okay, we'll have that. Right, what I'll do with that is I will download it. There we go. And I will send it to Carol. Not commercial, not commercial. Right, there you go. I've got my notifications shown, which I don't usually. Right, so that is only the first thing. That is the text to image. You describe what you want, it creates it. And then you tweak it with all of the options on the right-hand side. Going back and going back again, we have the second option, which is text effects. So going into here, you're taken through to a library. You can start with one of these if you want, and it will also tell you as you hover over it, like cheese popcorn or cables or toasted bread or whatever it is. These ones were balloons, I think, right? So you could do that. You could start from one of these. So this cable one here, if we click on that, how it works, it automatically puts the word Firefly in, which is not helpful. That is changed in the lower left-hand corner. So the first thing I would probably do with that is put network woes. So if I put in network is the text that it's going to work with, and then this bit next to it is the instruction for how to fill it. So do you want real tiger fur or something like that? But in this case, it's electrical wires. Right, you then have 4 options underneath that tweak it slightly. So looking at these, if we concentrate on the N, you can see that that's got a lot there of grey cables. If you didn't want grey cables, you could choose this one and it gives you a different appearance of the cables. So that's what these options at the bottom are for. So that's the first option there. We've seen the last one. Let's go for the second one. And that is what that looks like. Which one looks best? Let's try the third one. Possibly the third one. Right. This is coming from your prompt, which is electrical wire, and the word network. If you then move over to the side, you've got sample prompts. And wires is one of them, as is flowers and snakes and driftwood, balloons and bread toast. I'm going to stick with the cables and I'm going to stick with the word network. Right. This is the biggest change, I think. You can change the font, but this is how the effect fits inside the text, and the default is medium. But you can tell it to fit it tightly, and if you do, all those wires that were stuck out from the odd letter are removed, and it's very tight to the word network. The other option you've got is loose, which will have more kind of straggling cables coming out of it. So I'll go for loose because this takes a little bit of time to work its magic. Which ones you would use, as you can see, it really depends whether you can still read the word at the end of it. But I think the loose one actually looks more natural than some of the others. So moving down here, you can change the font. So if you wanted it a bit chunkier, you can change the font. Now, obviously, every time you do this, it has to regenerate it. And because there's 7 letters in that, it's taking its sweet time to do it. It's regenerating it based on the word you have down here, the instructions or description, and the text effects fit. So that's a little trickier to read, but I think you can still read it. And then down at the bottom, this is because the cable colours are quite bright. It looks good against a black background, but if you wanted this to put in a presentation and have it transparent, you can do that as well. So you can knock that out at the background. And then when you're happy with it, so after you've described it, you put the text in, you've set the fit, the font, the background colour, hovering over it gives you the option to download it. So if I hit there, you get all of this telling you how it's ethically sourced, the rest of it, and this saying they're applying the content credentials, and then that would actually be downloaded. And if I click it, it might open it, you never know. Right, let's preview it, bring that up, show you what you get. I know, and you know, that it would be very easy to get rid of that watermark because it's not actually touching the text. But because it's not for commercial use, you probably shouldn't. But that's what it actually looks like, what you've downloaded. So that one that I downloaded for Carol looks like that. Right. So that's the Word one that you've got in there. The only thing I found a little bit strange with this was as I'm working through it, I'm not really taking any notice of the artwork itself here. I'm not moving into it because there's no tools for me to change. So my mouse pointer was outside of the image. I'm working with these options here and the options at the bottom and the options up and down the side. And as I'm doing it, I'm thinking there's no way to download this. How would I download this? And those commands only become available when you actually hover over it, which I think is not a greatly accessible interface. It's not obvious maybe what you're supposed to do. You do have options in there. So if you want to submit this to the gallery, you can. And if instead of downloading it, you want to copy it, you can do that from there as well. So that is the text. Right. Should we ask it to do Samoyed fur? That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Let's try that. Oh, I better say white. It has a fetish for biscuit-coloured Samoyeds. Right. White Samoyed fur. Let's see how it goes. I know you know what a Samoyed is, so you should be fine. You should be absolutely fine. That's quite dark for Sammy fur, isn't it? And I've no idea what's going on with that R. That's not good. But yes, it does look like fur, doesn't it? So I guess a good one would be tiger fur. as you get the stripes. Go on, you know you can do it. Oh yes, there we go. Oh, it looks like Coronation Street, doesn't it? Circa 1960. So that's the text effects anyway. The third option, going back into here, is recolouring vectors. So with this one, it's not generating it per se, it's taking a vector and it is recolouring it. So you would need to upload the vector in SVG format. So I have got some stuff from that I already had. So let's go into that option. I've got a simple one and then I've got a more complicated one. So the simple one I've got is a little unicorn. So I'm uploading the SVG. Right, so next I need to describe the colour palette that I want. So it's got a reasonable colour palette to start with. But if I wanted vibrant beach colours, oh, and I should probably write in American, shouldn't I? Without the U. Trips me up every time. So it's having a think about it, and it's putting in vibrant beach colours. Another thing that I put in there, with this one I think, was shades of pink. So I've got, in this case, a unicorn, but it's bright colours, and maybe I want it in a range of pink colours. So it's a brilliant way to do it. It takes seconds, only takes seconds to upload, seconds to do that. And of course, you can then download these, and what you download is also a vector. So if I download that, I've downloaded an SVG over that. So if I go to my downloads and we open it, let's have a look. We could actually edit that and play around with it in any editor that can edit vector SVG. Right, but doesn't stop there. So at the moment over here, if I want to change the image, I would be looking at this option at the top. But I've also got sample prompts down here. So, you know, trippy disco lights and summer and stuff, which I could then apply to it. Don't think they're an improvement, but never mind. Right, if we go back to our vibrant pinks, we can also change not the colours themselves, but how the harmony of the colours works. So we could choose complementary colours, complementary to pink. We could choose analogous colours. So you can play around with it, basically. I defy anybody to know exactly what they would get with that. I mean, that, to me, not vibrant pink. Not even a triad of vibrant pink is that, but that's what we've got. And there's a split complementary as well. Now, that one's fairly straightforward because it's got a transparent background and it's already, I mean, it's a unicorn. Don't want to break it to anybody, but, you know, don't really exist. So I decided next, what would it do with a full image? So I've got this landscape. So I'll put that in there and that will give us this. So that is the landscape. You probably need to see the original landscape, don't you? That's the original, so it's very green. This one is working with vibrant pinks with the split complementary. So let's get rid of that to start with. And we're left with vibrant pink, which is very different from the green that we started with. But we could also put in here greens. Let's try greens, because it was green to start with. But if we wanted it tweaking slightly, you can, oh dear, lime green, but you could have a range of greens. You could also put in some of these weird ones over here, yellow submarine and stuff. But, you know, if you did want something way out, and of course this remains editable. You can download this and it is as editable as the original, but it's just recoloured. So use some of these samples, see what you get. Faded emeralds like my greens, but they are definitely more emerald than green. Let's try the trippy disco lights. Oh, very 80s. Loving it. Loving it. And if there are black and white bits in it, it's going to preserve the black and white. But if you took that away, it would be even trippier. So there you go. So that's for vector at the moment. But I think the fact that you can upload your own, and then I'd like a little bit more control, I think. But the fact you can upload your own and then download another editable copy of it, if you did want to do some weird and wonderful colouring, you could do that. So do we have any questions about any aspect of that whatsoever?
No.
No? Who's tried it? Everybody told us if they've tried it or not?
Nobody said if they've tried it.
Okay, I will head into here then, where we have our freebies. I'm sure we've mentioned this site before, but it's one that's been around for at least 15 years, if not more. And they always put up about 3 or 4 new graphics a week, and that is PSDGraphics. And the graphics that they put up are, sometimes they do a JPEG version, but many times you will find there is a Photoshop version, which obviously Affinity can use. So at the bottom it will tell you the resolution of it, the file size, the format, what colour palette it is, and then you are able to download it. And it is completely free. So the link's in there to paste in, Mike.
Done.
Excellent. Right, so seeing as though they've tried delivering it, lying toads, they're not likely to interrupt your dashboard, are they? No. No. So Mike's about to head in to his Premier League dashboard. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I am ready to rock and roll.
There we go. You are rocking and rolling, Mike.
Right, okay. Week 3 of the Premier League dashboard. So what I've done here is I've just tidied this up a little bit. I've now got 4 tabs down the bottom here. The raw data tab has got 2 sets of data in that I originally imported in from a CSV file, which I downloaded from a website. So that's the Premier League table, which is over here, and all of the match results, which is over here. Also, what I've done for the demo, which you will see shortly, and that's the bit that didn't work last week, but I've just tried it before and it did work, is I put a link to, I've only done 2. If I was doing this for real, I'd do all 20 of them, but the club crests, each club crest. I've managed to get them from Wikipedia, but you can use any URL. And then down here, I've got an alphabetical list of the teams, and the reason for that I will show you shortly. So this is the raw data. The tables sheet I showed you last week, and that was to get the full league table, the top 4, which is the Champions League places, 5 and 6, which is the Europa Tin Pot places, and the bottom 3, which is the relegation places. Now, I might be doing a Premier League dashboard, but you could use the same concepts and principles to pull out other information from other types of tables. So, for example, if this was a list of sales, you might want to pull out the top 4 salespeople and the 5th and 6th salespeople and the bottom 2 or bottom 3 salespeople. So you can use the concept, and all I did was use a couple of formulas. You can use the concept in many different situations. But when it comes to the actual dashboard itself, this is the dashboard that I've produced. And as I said to you last week, there's no such thing as a typical dashboard. What a dashboard looks like, what colours you use, etc., is really up to you. Okay, so let me show you what I've done. Over here, I've got a drop down, and the drop down has been generated from that list on the raw data sheet. Now, I could have picked up the items for the drop down from the league table, but of course they wouldn't be in alphabetical order. So that's why I created this list to put it in alphabetical order. So if I choose, and I've only got United and City that's got the club badges, so if I choose City, not only does it change the club badge, but it also changes everything else on here. Change it back to United, and you can see again it's changing the scores, it's changing the the playing record, and it's changing what's going in these little boxes here. So you can see when it's United, they lost 7-0 at Liverpool, and if I change that to City, then that has changed as well. So that's just to show you that it is live data. There's no trickery, there's no magic up my sleeve. It is connecting directly to this data here. So how did I do it? Let me show you how I did it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn the grid lines off by going up to View and selecting grid lines, and that just gives it a cleaner look just by turning the grid lines off. The next thing I will do is change the formula for the away matches, which is actually wrong. Now, I only discovered this was wrong when I was having a look at these data sets, and according to this, we beat Liverpool 7-0. Now, of course, as painful as it is to remember, we didn't. We lost 7-0. And the reason it's doing this is because if you go back to the raw data, what I'm actually doing is for the home matches, I'm telling it to pick out anything where, get the right sheet, where United appears in the home team column. For the away one, I'm telling it to pick anything where United appears in the away column. So in the away column, I actually want 2, 3 and 4. And in the home one, I want 1, 3, 4. So what I need to do is I basically need to swap these around. It needs to be 1, 3 and 4, I think. 1, 3 and 4. Let's switch that back to United and we will see. Oh no, it's not 1, 3, 4. That's showing 7, 7. If only it was 7, 7. 1, 4. I think it's 1, 4 and 3. Yeah, there we go. 1, 4 and 3. Basically, what you're doing is you're choosing which columns from here you want and the order that you want them in. So that's the home team, that's the goals against, and that's the goals for. So yeah, it's 1, 4 and 3. Okay, so that's the first thing that I got that wrong last week, so I'll just fix that. The other thing I've done is, you'll notice if you look in these formulas up here, that they are all within the formulas referencing F1. So the idea is that when you choose the club from that drop-down list, it feeds that into these formulas, and that is how it's picking out the correct team. So again, it's not magic, it's just the fact that I've structured it this way. So you can select there isn't a drop down at the moment, but there will be. And then it will pick up what's in F1 and feed it through to there, feed it through to there, and feed it through to there. So to get that drop down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to F1 and select data and data validation and set the allow value to list and set the list to be the raw data. It's not the raw data, is it? Yes, is it the raw data sheet? Yes, it is the raw data sheet A25. And if I put A25 and a hash sign, it will take A25 and below. So there is the drop down list, and I can then just choose the different teams and it updates everything in there, because remember, all of these formulas are referencing what's in F1. How I got the club badge in there was to use, and this is what I showed you last week, which didn't work, but let's see if it works today.
It did work after we finished.
It did work after we finished, yes.
As soon as we stopped, it worked.
That was a bit too late, wasn't it? So I'm using a fairly new function called the image function. So what you do, you put equals image open brackets, and then you point it at the URL of the image, which I happen to have in these cells here. I can't just say that cell or that cell. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use an XLOOKUP. I'm going to get it to look for that value in that list there and pick out the corresponding value from that list. Okay, so equals XLOOKUP, sorry, equals image first, equals image, open brackets, the source is going to be look up what's in F1, and the lookup array is going to be that range there, and the result array is going to be that range there. So what it's going to do in this case, it's going to look up what is in F1, which I think was city, search for it down column A. When it finds it, it's going to go across to column K and pick up the URL. And I missed out a bracket, which you'll put in for me, and there we go. Ooh, it's worked this week. There we go. So if I change that to United, it changes it to the United crest. Okay, the next thing I will show you is those little buttons that I had over here. And what those buttons were doing was just showing you, has my machine crashed? No, it's just slow. Right, what those buttons are showing you is, in this case, goals scored, goals conceded, points and league position. So how did I do those? Well, what I did is I created a shape. So I'm going to go up to Insert, Shapes. And I think I used the rounded rectangle, that one there, rounded rectangle. And just drew out the shape like that. And you can have as many as you like. I've got 4. I'll just show you one here. Then I will set the shape color, the background color. So let's make that one red. And I also had, if we look at the completed version, I also had this this effect. There's lots of effects you can apply. So under shape effect, I think it's one of the levels. So I could have that kind of 3D effect. Or I could have the sunken effect, that one there. So just play around with it until you get what you like. Now, how do I get the text in there? Well, I can actually just type text in there, but I want it to pick up the value from a cell. And I'll do the goal scored one. So what I've done to save a bit of time is I've created a few formulas, and if we look in A26 at the actual formula, the formula says equals goals scored joined to CHAR10, which means carriage return, and what's in O5, and what's in O5 is the number of goals scored for whichever team is selected here. So that's why in that cell there it says goals scored 46, because it's taking the text goals scored, joining it to a carriage return and joining that to what's in O5, and O5 in turn is the goal scored. It's picking that up from the playing record for whichever team is selected here. Now, if you look at this cell here, you can't see a carriage return. It doesn't actually matter, because it will show a carriage return when this shape is referenced by this formula. But if you really want to see the carriage return in the cell, turn wrap text on, and there you go. So it's saying goals scored, enter 46. We don't really need the carriage return in the cell, so I'll just do that. So then I'll go to the shape, click in the formula bar, type in equals, and click on A26 and press enter. And there we go, it's picked up goals scored 46. I can then format that, so I can center align it, both vertically and horizontally. I could make the text bigger. I could make the text white. I could change the font. I can make it bold, etc., etc. And then if I change the team, let's say Leeds United, it picks 41, which it's picking up from there and combining that in there. And of course, if we go back to here, that is the correct value. So that's what I did there. I created, as I said, about 4 of these different shapes. I'll just do another one. I'll do goals conceded. So go to insert, go to shapes, and I can use any of these shapes, but for consistency, I'm going to use the rectangle again and draw that out. I could place it underneath, doesn't really matter where I place it. I'm going to make that one green background, and I'll use the same shape effect, which was a sunken bevel. I think it was that one. That's not quite the same one, is it? Was it that one? I think it was that one. And then I want to link that up to A27. So click in the formula bar with that selected, equals, select A27 and press enter. And then I can apply the formatting. So I will make that white text and make it centered and make the font bigger and bold. And there we go. So again, we can change from the drop down, we can choose a different team. The reason that's showing us value is because we don't actually have a club badge anywhere for that team. So yeah, it's showing us the goals scored, goals conceded for that team. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Do you want me to go on, or are you?
Up to you.
No, I will wrap up there then. So if there's no questions, that is the dashboard. Hope you found that useful over the past 3 weeks. As I said, we started with the raw data, then we grabbed the tables, and then we made it into a nice visual display. Okay.
Right, okay, hang on. And you're out. Okay, 2 things with Obsidian this week. One is tiny, but mighty. That is, there was a new version this week. Pretty much bug fixes, but they added a new feature. So Obsidian always had a great way to view PDFs. Now, I don't use it. So I'm starting with that. I don't use it, but I will explain why. What they've added is even nicer. It's so pretty. So if you add a PDF to your Vault and you click the link, it will open it so you can see it, and it will look like that, which means you can see the thumbnails, any annotations you've got, navigate the pages. Let's see it, and then I'll explain why I don't use it. Purely personal preference. Right, I have a PDF, so let's show you that. So in my folder for this section, I've just got a PDF that arrived this week. So this is what that PDF would look like in preview. So it's nice and visual to start with. There's the PDF. Right, I need to get that into the Vault somehow. So I'm just going to dump it in projects because we've got quite a lot in inbox. So I will dump it in there. So this shows as PDF next to it. So if I click on that now, I get this beautiful display of it. So it might not be a fully fledged PDF editor, but it's certainly great as a viewer. So I can zoom into that. I don't have to leave Obsidian to actually see this. Right, I can scroll up and down. I can go straight to pages. I can turn this on and off, the thumbnail view. I can go into there. If there were a table of contents, I would be able to view the table of contents as well. So that's just a tiny update. Why don't I use it? I don't use it because PDFs tend to be not that large, maybe. Having said that, that report is 37 meg. Now, 37 meg, not that big, you know, but we have pen drives of 256 gig. So 37 meg, not that big. But my entire vault isn't that size. So when it synchronizes like lightning because it's not weighed down with heavy files. So I will show you that. This is my real vault. So in Obsidian, I've got a Paravolt that I'm playing with, can't remember why. But this is my real vault, Mission Control. And if I show you that with all its backups and everything else is 20 meg or 27 meg on the disk. Obviously, I work on a million different iPads and phones, and it synchronizes in seconds because there's only markdown files in there. If I were to add just one PDF like that, it would more than double the size of my vault. So I put that in the cloud. I would put that on Zeit, which is now Cloud App as was, and I would put a link into it. I think you would be all right up to a couple of gig with your vault. But at what point do you then say, well, do I have to prune it now? Or maybe not synchronize all of it. And I just don't want the hassle. I just want text-only vault. So that's why I don't. I guess if I was working on something that was critically important, but I would probably put this in a dedicated markup app for PDFs. But if you don't, if you want it in your vault, then that is really, really nice now. You can do a whole lot more with it. I think they'll probably extend that as well to marking it up, but at the moment, that's not there. So that was the first bit. Then we've got my promised Canvas MOCs. I'd already thought of using Canvas to make maps of content because I tend to be visual. So if I'm working on various things, I will probably have post-it notes on my desk and I will move them around. So having the Canvas, which was added just before Christmas, was amazing. Other people are catching up with this idea now and they're calling it visual MOCs. So whether it's a Canvas MOC or a visual MOC, it's a way of mapping your content that's incredibly visual. So not a long, sprawling text file, but literally you could spread this out in any ways that made sense to you. So I will show you how. So first of all, I'm going to need a new canvas for that. So Command and P. Oh, do you think that's them with your shelf?
No.
And if you didn't hear that, it was an ambulance, I think. It was an ambulance or the fire service, one or the other. Either of which you could need when they finally get that here.
True.
Yeah, that you'd need them if I was doing it. Okay, so I'm in here and I need a new canvas. So I'm going to type canvas, and a new canvas is an option. So there it is. So we have covered canvases, but just in case you missed it or you have no recollection, Canvas is a visual display of your content. It could be your existing content, or you could create content on the fly as you work with it. So what I mean by that is, in here, you can just drag to add a card. A card is not a note. A card could be a note and you can upgrade it to a note, but initially it's not. It's just a piece of freeform text that you can only access on this canvas. So I might decide to put things here like, you know, I need to ring the shelf company. Yes, I need to ring the neck of the shelf company, right? So I might just put that in there and then add another thing. So if I'm putting my to-dos there, because I want them visual, then that is what I would do. So prep for training. Right, these not being fully fledged notes, but you can also add notes on here. So this option at the bottom where you add to drag from the vault, you drag it on and then it allows you to search for it. So let's say I want this things to do this week. Then that would bring in a note. So these are cards. This is a note. Difference between the two. One, this is bigger. It has the title up here. If you want to see it, that is optional. This one does not. But if you wanted that, you can delete it from here. You can set the colour of it. So if that was a high priority, you could set the colour of it and it changes the colour. You have the option there to zoom to it. So you just centre that. You can edit it, which will take you into edit mode. And you can in there right click on it and say convert to a file. And then that would become the same level as this file that we've actually dragged in, which is this one over here. Now, just dragged in and dropped around like this, it might make no sense to you. So let's get rid of these and let's actually put some things in that start to make sense. So I've created here this CMOC folder. And within this, we have some content that we've already seen and used. So it's a note. It's a new course. I've got my live sessions linked to. I'm going to put a start date in. So maybe I want to put a start date of today. Highlight that, put it in brackets. And let's say it's going to run until June. So let's say the end of June, like that. So I've got this information and I want that included on my map of content because it's a new course, but it's forming part of something that I'm doing. So maybe I'm doing a range of 5 courses or something like that. So in my canvas mock, so we'll go in there, see mock, we could drag that, no, hang on, wrong one. Don't get giddy. It's this new course one, isn't it? We could drag that in there. And that would bring this into the canvas. Now, because this canvas is completely unlimited, so I can just keep adding to it and organising it. I could put swim lanes on it if I wanted. I can colour code it. I can group it. Then I can organise this in any way I choose. So that one would be my new course. And then let's say my new course, I want to look at the rest of this stuff that's in here. So looking at the other 3 that I've got in here, I'm taking it then to the next level. But first of all, we'll drag that in. Maybe we want to remember to read that. And notice that the new PDF view is also available on the canvas. So I can navigate here, I can zoom into this, I can leave it set to a particular place. And you may not remember, but you can also put in here, you can embed YouTube videos, any other kind of content that you want. So making a visual mock, a canvas mock, could be better than a listed mock where you've just got lists of pages because you can add drawings to it, you can link these things. So if you needed to go from this to this, you know, to read it as part of the course, you can link these to it. So do this first and then move over there. You can create these, make them as simple as you like or as complicated as you like. But that's completely up to you how you do that. But I wanted to show that a canvas mock or a visual mock can actually be much better than a standard mock. Now we've looked at the standard ones where you build them yourself. So you could say that that is an MOC. It's an MOC for that new course. It's a map of content. It's got my dates on it. I'm going to put my resources in it, any useful links. And then I've got links through to the individual sessions on that. And we did create some stuff in here. That was when we were looking at transclusion. Right, so we have all of those as well. There's nothing to stop you on here if you wanted to having these sessions underneath it. So you could even bring those in. So these are the sessions here. So I can bring these in. I can scale them, do whatever I need with them. I'll bring in 3 just as an example. So I'm just randomly going to put 3 on there. Not laid them out neatly or anything. But I'm going to zoom out, put these underneath. This one, because I've got 3, is going to line up with that. And that's going to line up there. And then on here, I can say we go to that one first. And then from this one, I go on to this one. And from that one, I go into that one. And you could actually navigate the entire course from here, if that's what you chose to do. So I'll show you that in here, you can actually click in these. And I don't want to see it. I want to scroll it. Up we go. I didn't put any information in there. That's why. So I've got no meta. But we do have our X call out that we did last week, don't we? So will that work in there? Let's find out. No, it can't. It can't put that in there. I'd actually have to go to it. But the principle's there. This is the course. You're going in session 1, 2 and 3. You can move these around. So you can say, you know, I'm going to move to that one and that one down there because we do have 8 sessions. Then it starts to look messy with these. But what we can do with those is we can delete that. So make sure it's highlighted. Are we highlighted? No, I double clicked it. I think we've got you, that's right. Right, and go back in here, and this time we're just going to pull it down like that. So that is simple pages, right? This page is a manually created MOC that's linking to a PDF, and it's linking to 3 sessions, and each of the sessions is linking to each other. But you can see the transclusions work, so you could actually from in here get to session 7 if you needed to, which is the beauty of it. It's about navigating the material in your vault, in your database. But when we were looking at standard MOCs, that's what we've got for the course. We then extended it and we created some data view MOCs. So this was what we did last time, if you remember. You can tell that these are data views as you hover over them because they get a border around them. And if you click the icon in the corner, it actually shows you what the code is. So that was that one, and that was that one. So these are definitely data view query driven pages. But again, let's move back. Nothing to stop you taking one of those pages, data view driven, and adding that in here. Now you've got the best of all worlds. So you're not keeping this up to date. This one at the top, you're keeping up to date. This one, you're not. You could extend this so you could see the whole thing. And now whichever one of these you want to get to, you just have to hover and it will give you a preview, but it will also let you click on it and navigate you to it. So in terms of being a map of your content, it's absolutely perfect and it gets automatically updated. So you could build up, you could either do this separate or you could put it in a separate area. So you navigate to it where you've got a range of these. So this is the macOS one. This one was the MacBites tag. So put that next to that. So instead of keeping your MOCs in a folder and navigating to the folder, you could keep them on a canvas and it gives you one almighty high level way to navigate. So the other one that I've got on here was the personal development MOC. So again, put that in place and extend if necessary. Don't need with that one, but there they are. So you could actually have that as your very, very, very top level MOC. Other things you could do with this is you could grab these and you could group those together and then put, you know, top level MOCs. And that is then your navigation. That is cutting through that. Might need to make that a little bit bigger like that. Then we can read it properly. But now you can focus on that. So you could select the group and click focus, and now you are just focusing on that. Knowing that to the left-hand side, we have more content. So moving across there, we have more content if we want to view that content. So whether you had one top-level visual MOC or multiple level MOCs, maybe you want a top one like that, and then you click into these, and each one of those is a visual MOC. I know it's easy to get overwhelmed, but it's not about what you should do, it's about what works for you. So just like I said with the PDFs, this is fabulous. I don't use it. I don't use it because the size of my vault is the most important thing. I took that decision very early on with images and PDFs. They were the only 2 attachments I thought I would need in there, although you can do things like record audio. I'm not doing that. Never is that happening. So the 2 things that mattered to me, and the reason that I decided not to put them in the vault, yes, there was the size of the vault. On a more technical level, there was something worse than that as far as I was concerned, which is this PDF is referenced from here. It's also referenced, did I put it on a page? I don't think I did put it on a page, but I could have put a reference to that PDF on a page. If I then deleted this reference here and the reference on the page, I would have no way of getting to that PDF, but the PDF would still be there taking up space. So that's why I don't. But they're adding features. You know, the fact I don't use that feature doesn't matter to me. It's not a case of there's 3,000 features and I've got to use all of them. Use the ones that make sense. So design the MOCs as visually as you like. if you want to put in links to videos, that doesn't increase the size of the vault. You can literally just do that. Shall we try that? Or will we break something? Let's go and get a video. Better make it one of mine. A short one of mine before YouTube gets giddy. Oh, you're not loading in. Come on, let's put me in. You're not going to believe this. I've actually just got in YouTube, it's come up and it says there's AI art generator by Adobe Firefly, free beta, and there's a picture of a panda. Oh, how adorable. Right, let's get a video of mine. That one will do. I just added the timings to that this week. Right, I am getting the URL and I'm hoping that putting the URL in is going to be sufficient. Let's find out. Can't remember how I did this now. Did I just paste it? I did. How nice. Right, so all I did with that was right click on the video and get... Oh, I'm trying to move it. I need a hand. No, I don't want you to play. Don't play. YouTube will get giddy. Come on. I'm moving you. Yes, I know I'm live and everything. It's fabulous. Now, just let me move you. I need the hand. I need to find out where the hand is. Can't find the hand. Can I click on that? No, nothing's moving it. Why is nothing moving it? Oh, come on. Oh, I saw the hand then. I think I need to be near the edge. Oh, it's not working. It's not. Oh, come on. I definitely saw the hand. Oh. I thought you could use the command. I knew this would go hideously pear-shaped if I did something I hadn't rehearsed. But you can get a video in there. Right, maybe I should click away and just try moving it. Like that. There you go. Right, it's moved. Thank the Lord. So you could do that. And if you look at that, it's not embedding it with the full page and stuff. I only took the URL. So I right-clicked on the video in YouTube and then pasted that in. And there's the video. And you could play it from there. And make notes next to it if that is what you want. So all kinds of content can go in here. So if you are a visual person, doing it on a canvas, doing your mock on a canvas opens up so many possibilities, which I don't feel is there with a text-based one. I have multiple text-based MOCs, and they're fine if I'm doing something specific. So if I'm making an article for the blog or something like that, and I'm only putting in that MOC the content that's going in it, it works great. If I want something bigger, if I'm trying to cover 8 sessions or something, I would want to break it up. I know some people have MOCs that go on for pages, but as soon as it goes below the fold, as far as I'm concerned, it's like then I've got to hunt for things and I've got to put tactics in place to hunt for things. Whereas with a visual one, all I need to do is just zoom out and get a higher level overview. And I can drag this around. Come on. Oh, what are you doing? Right, there we go. And I can drag this around so I can focus on just the bit that I want. So as far as I'm concerned, visual mocks, canvas mocks, they're probably the way forward. I can see me creating these. I can see me having areas of the MOC for reference. And I can also see the actual separate pages, as you see for these sessions, that I navigate from here and then bring them in and then focus on them as and when I'm using them. So does anybody have any questions about that?
No.
You're all asleep now, are you? That's not good. Right. One more thing to think about with Canvas. If you have never looked at Canvas before, you will find it in the core plugins. It is a plugin, but it is enabled by default. Some are, some aren't. So I mentioned before the audio recorder, and that is disabled by default, whereas the Canvas is enabled by default. You do have options with the Canvas in terms of how it works. You can get to that either from the cog next to it, which is the options, or you can go to the core plugin and click on Canvas. When you do that, these are the options that you have. So if you always want your canvases in a single location, then you can specify a folder in there. If not, then your canvases will just appear in the root of your vault. You can change how the default mouse wheel works. Now, I do have a mouse wheel. Some don't. So if you think about the Apple mouse, that has a mind of its own on a good day. But you can change what that does, whether it pans or it zooms. You can change the default behaviour, whether you show the menu or whether you add a card. So if you find yourself adding cards the whole of the time, you might want to make that faster by just altering what the command key does. You can also display the card label, always or never, and when you hover over it. So I've just left to the default. I think I did turn snap to grid on. I turned on one of these, but I can't remember which one it was. So one was off by default, the other was on. So this will enable it to snap to objects, and this will snap to the grid that you have behind it. And then you've got the zoom threshold for hiding cards, which that again is the default. But if you find that there's an aspect of this visual thing that's annoying you, then this is where you would go to change it. Those are the options that you've got. They are also constantly working on the canvas because it's still quite a new feature. Other applications are catching up in a way. I think it's called Whiteboard in Logseek. I don't think Rome have added anything, but some of the others have added like this visual aspect to it. As far as I'm concerned, when I saw this, that's actually playing, isn't it? Again, don't do that. YouTube won't like me playing a video of my own inside a video of my own. It'll get very upset. What was I saying? Stop! Crying out loud. I think that's stopped. I wouldn't like to guarantee it. If you want to add things in here as you're working, to me, this is a great way of working. When they announced it, I thought, oh, wow. And I tried it and I thought, oh, yeah, it's fine. But I think when you're actually making something, not at the point that you're collecting information, collating it, adding your own notes to it, it makes less sense at that point. It makes a lot more sense when you're at the other end of the creative process and you're actually outputting content. So you're actually writing content or scripting content or something like that, just to give you an overview of what you've got that you can put in this content. And it works great. I have tried this, happy to recommend it, works great. That is one way to use it. I think I should create another one before YouTube spits itself all over. Right, I'm going to make another canvas and show you another way that you can use this. Right, so another canvas. Right, this one is slightly different, but what I've got here is I have created a graphic, which I'll bring in a minute. But let's say we were doing the to-do things. So, script video and other stuff I might want to do. Pay credit card bill, things like that. I got a credit card bill today, mate. We were discussing where that was. It was missing in action, but it appeared. Good job it's not got the shelf on it or something, isn't it? Just saying. Right. Oh, I know. Assemble shelf, should it ever arrive. Right. So these are things that I've got to do. But while I might like to see them visually, I might need to change the colour of some of these things. I mean, this one is probably on fire at some point, so that needs doing. That one probably less so. So, make that like not as important. Scripting the video is probably on fire as well, but let's say not as much on fire. So that's one thing you can do with it. But some things are going to be important. So in fact, what I'm going to do on here, I'm going to add this on and we'll put a record video on there, which whilst important is going to happen after we've scripted it. So the stuff that I've put on here as cards is fine, but there's no organisation in terms of visualisation of it. I can group things, not great. So another thing you can now do, this was not there at the beginning. This was added not that long ago, I think about 5-6 weeks ago. So what I've done is I have created that, which is a graphic. It's called Matrix Pastels. So if you're familiar with the Eisenhower matrix, which is, if it's urgent and important, it goes in here. If it's important but not urgent, it goes in quadrant 2. If it's important but not urgent, it goes in there. And this one is not important, not urgent. Right, I could stretch that out like that. and I could move these. So I cannot put record video as urgent and important until I've scripted it. So at the moment, that might be down here. This one might be up here. So you can actually put a graphic on the canvas and then move your content on top of it, which can provide, in this case, a kind of 3D view of the urgency of the thing. So the credit card is probably the most important thing, so pop that in there. And we can't really assemble the shelf yet because it's not even arrived. But now I've got this Eisenhower matrix with my content on it. And it could be that, you know, I could even make this bigger. So let's make that bigger. Click away, get these in the right places again. A reason that I'm making it bigger. So let's pop those in there. One in each quadrant. So let's say that I need to work on my new course. I can bring my new course on here, and I can also pop that in one of these. Go on, let's get the hand. Into one of these. So that would probably be going in this one. I can scale these if I want to, and I can also scale this matrix to be as big as I want. It's just the contents, the notes and the cards are overlaid onto the image that you have, and it wouldn't matter what that image was. I've seen this done with treasure maps, all kinds of things. So you could have your code diagram and you could be moving your content on top of that. That, to me, the one that I've done there is the Eisenhower matrix. But it's your content. You're not having to regenerate it or put it in another application. It's your content, and all that is an image. So it's a PNG. Simple as that. You can make that as extravagant as you like. So if you wanted to have a text on it so you could remember which was which, you could put that on the graphic. So whatever you want to put on the graphic, you can then bring into here and put your Obsidian content on the top of it. So it's a variation on a theme, but the fact that it's not obvious, the fact that you can add an image and then that automatically goes to the background unless you select it. So as soon as I select it, it comes to the front, but when I click away, it goes to the back. It's not obvious that you can do that, but in certain circumstances, that might work out brilliantly for you. I think if I were doing that, I'm not overly fond of the colours. I think I might make it like a big square with a border on it rather than have a colour in the background. But that's just me. Okay, do we have any questions at that point or not?
No. Patricia wants to know, do I have a link for your Notion videos and templates?
I think we made one. But don't quote me. I'll have to have a look.
Okay.
Okay. So, what have we got coming up? Right, are you all awake? Just asking. Let me know in the chat. Put yes if you are awake. And if you are, what have you forgotten? You've not forgotten, have you?
No.
No, Mike wouldn't dare forget. The dog's not forgotten. But I want to know if you have forgotten. So first of all, are you awake? And that Carol's awake. Excellent. What have you forgotten? Oh, lots of you are awake. Excellent. Let me tell you what you may have forgotten. Not forgotten yet, anyway. Only 3 o'clock. Oh, Kim knows. Kim knows it's a special show next week. It's my birthday. Now, what would I want to do on my birthday? Well, share it with you guys, of course, so you won't want to miss next week. It's my birthday. Just saying. Am I going to get gifts from you, Mike?
Of course. If you tell me what you want.
Oh, I've got to tell him what I want. Yeah, can't you read my mind? Because will there be unboxings? Well, it depends. Depends on what you send me. If lots of people send me lots of things, there'll be lots of unboxings. Other than that, I might have to unbox what Mike's provided, and he doesn't know what he wants to give me, do you?
No.
No, I've got to tell him what I want, apparently, which is what your mother said.
I once bought you a dog.
Yes. In 2001, I was a mere child in 2001, wasn't I? Yes. When Mum decided that she'd back down over the issue of a dog, it was a case of like, let's get one before she changes her mind. So Mike said, birthday present. So he did arrive, and he did have a cardboard box, didn't he? That was just with a blanket in it, so we could bring him back. He was 7 weeks old, bless him. So yes, but when it came to my birthday, he wasn't cooperative in the getting inside a box and letting mummy unbox him mistakes. No. But there may be unboxings, I don't know. Also, we're available on demand. We have all our other stuff, which is at youtube.com/ElaineGiles. There is the After Hours playlist. Do you know the shows with the most views this week were from 2019?
Oh.
The Devon Think series. The Devon Think series is available on there. So you will find that at macbites.co.uk/After Hours playlist. Might be time for another Devon Think series, you know. Might be. Let me know. We love you guys. Of course we do. And if you love us, can you give us a like? Need likes at the moment. YouTube's lost its mind. So give us some likes and don't forget to subscribe. You know you want to subscribe. There is my mailing list where you will get first notification of dedicated sessions that I do, which is at elainegiles.com/VIP, and everything MacBites related, and you need to be on there right now. Come on, it's less than 3 weeks to WWDC. That is macbites.co.uk/macbites-mail. Then there is Slack, where we have lots of fun carrying on the conversation. If you are not already a member, you need to go to macbites.co.uk/join Slack. But if you are a member, you only need to go to macbites.co.uk/Slack, and then you will be able to log in. Right, and if you want to contact us, those are all the places that we are. Only don't bother with Mike on Twitter much. Just, is anybody going to be on Twitter for much longer? I see they've got a new CEO.
Yeah.
Which was fine until I heard Musk say he was staying on as Chief Technical Officer. What qualifies him for that role? Chief Technical Officer. I know at one point he had Chief Twit on there, and I thought that was most accurate. But apparently they have a new lady in charge, so who knows where they're going to be. Right, what have we got in here? Let me update that. How did you miss the portion of the Whimsical? Whimsical's going to be next week. I swapped the Whimsical out for the Firefly as being, we've just got our hands on it. So Whimsical will be next week. Project management in Whimsical. I'm quite impressed with that. I was bordering on spending money on it. And then Raycast came along and I'm like, oh, come on. Stop squabbling over what money I've got left at the end of the month. So I'll have to have a ponder as to what I do with that. But the other thing is there's a Miro thing coming up. And I wondered, because Miro have got mobile apps and Whimsical hasn't. So, but I've always found Miro a bit weird. I think I was put off Miro by a live session once. You know, one of these live sessions where it's like a come by our session. One of these, let's all sit round the campfire and contemplate our navels. And I went into it and there was all these cursors flying all over the place with different names. And I thought, whoa, not for me.
Yeah, we're using Miro at work.
It's too peoply. Miro was too peoply for me. I like to go in and see only my own stuff. But you never know. One or other of those. But yes, we'll do the Miro thing next week. What's that question from Patricia?
Anything about Vivaldi Update Security 2-Step Edition?
Not yet. They said it's coming, but not yet. To be honest, I'd wait for that. You know what I really want this year? There's 2 things this year that I am desperate to get my hands on. One is Vivaldi for iOS. Can't wait. I'm using Firefox. It's driving me insane. To the point I install Brave, but I can't find a thing in Brave, so I've had to go back to Firefox. But it's constantly asking me to log in and trying to sell me services, and I can't be doing with it. So I can't wait for Vivaldi on iOS. And the other thing is ScreenFloat 2. He's been tantalising us with snippets of what he's been doing. And the last thing he gave us a sneak peek of was annotations on it. Just scribbles or drawing around it. And I'm like, oh, want. But I don't know how long that's going to take. But it's going to be a free update when it comes out. I'd rather pay him the money and have it now. But those are the 2 things that I really want this year. But as soon as I hear about it, you will hear about it. What else have we got in there? Is that it?
Let me go back to it. That's it.
He's checking.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, see, if I hadn't have done that thing on Firefly, we wouldn't have seen Carol's pretty dog, would we?
True.
It's rather gorgeous. Right, okay then. If that is it, we will head off. That means I've got time for ice cream, doesn't it? Before I turn into a pumpkin at midnight. That in a box set. And whenever I think of a box set, I think of Peter and his pleading pooches. What can I say? You're constantly on my mind. Right, what's this from Patricia? I really can't see this. Hang on. Let me zoom. I'm leaning over so I can read.
All the icons disappeared when they added workspaces.
Which icons are these? Because workspaces, I've had to put in a workaround for the workspaces, I'll be honest. The workspaces are fabulous. I've been using them tonight, so I only need one browser open instead of two. But there have been occasions when it didn't even crash. I just moved something and all the tabs disappeared. So what I've done is I've created sessions for the workspaces so I can always open the tabs that I want. But other than that, take a couple of screenshots and let me know. The icons for the open tabs on the left panel. Well, they're an option. I think you can toggle the icons off. So go into the preferences and make sure. Can you do a search for icons? Let's have a look. So I've gone into the preferences. I am searching for icons. Window appearance. Fonts, native, title bar. Not seeing icons. Okay, in that case then don't search for icons. Go into the preferences and go to tabs. Are they on the tabs? Good grief. Do you know there's so many things on here? On red indicators on the left. That says dim icon, so you must be able to toggle it on and off somewhere. So what are you left with? If you've not got your icons, what are you left with? Are they just like a standard icon, like a globe or something? I'm pretty confident you can toggle the icons on and off. I thought it was on the tabs, in the tab settings. Maybe it's under appearance. Animation. I will find it. If there's one fault with Vivaldi, it's how many options there are. But, if I search for, maybe it's icon. Fab icon. Yes, it is. It's under, oh no, hang on, that's speed dial. Oh, that's weird. Let's have a look. I would suspect it's going to be under tab display. Take a screenshot of what you've got under tab display and let me know. And then I'll see if it looks like mine, because my icons haven't disappeared at all. In fact, it's working brilliantly. It's been 2 weeks, I think, with workspaces. And I always used to get into a state where I got like 100 tabs open. And I'm just not doing that anymore. I've got open only what I want open, and then I've got other things open in different spaces. It's working brilliantly. So take a couple of screenshots and let me know. Right. Okay, then. We will head off. So I will say good night from me.
And good night from me.
And we will both see you next time. Stay safe, guys. And don't forget, it'll be my birthday.